Howdy folks, check out these pretty views here with some fresh snowfall. Here in Jasper National Park, Alberta, Canadian Rockies. This is the first real snowfall of the year. It actually snowed a couple of months ago, back in August, but that was just a very quick little 1 hour or so of snow. Might have been about the same amount of snow that actually got on the ground, but by a couple hours later it was sunny and it all melted off. This kind of feels like it's likely to stick around a little bit longer. It is late October, so we are definitely headed into winter here. Definitely soaking it up. It was a little bit of a surprise. It started snowing yesterday evening while I was sitting in a coffee shop. I didn't even know that it was in the forecast, and then snowed for a couple hours. I was hoping that it would just dump all night, and then I would wake up in the morning and there would be like tons of fresh new snow, but that didn't really happen. There wasn't much more than there had been last night, but then it was getting started snowing again. Just tiny little flakes, so it's not putting a whole lot on the ground, but it's pretty fun and nice. Perfect actually for hiking, since there isn't too much on the ground here. I can still see where I'm going and hopefully not get lost here. I'm hiking outside of the town of Jasper here. I just walked out of town. It's about 30 minutes from there to here, and then just heading up this trail which heads for some lakes, which I probably won't get to, but I think they're a few miles, but we'll see. I'll just kind of keep on cruising here. So this video is on the subject of what is the meaning of life? Good question, and definitely one that is totally open to interpretation. We all have our own opinions on what exactly the meaning of life is. There are a variety of different meanings to life, of course, but it could be narrowed down to two things, I would say. And this is a silly little phrase that somebody else came up with. I forget who, but or where I first came across it. But the meaning of life is to have fun and learn something. So there is, of course, much to be experienced in this world as a human being, such as a beautiful snowy scene in the mountains. I'm definitely having fun here at the moment and learning a little something about the seasons and the cycles of nature and the enjoyment of the silence of being in the woods and etc. But life is not always fun, that's for sure. Lots of difficult, challenging times. Gonna make sure and get plenty of shots of the views this time and not just pointed at my face the whole time. Wow, what a scene. So life is not always fun, that is for sure. Life can be damn tough, but those tough times are very often the most powerful learning experiences. And so, that's kind of the dichotomy there of have fun and learn something, and they aren't always synonymous. But there is always something to be learned from anything that you are experiencing in your life. There's the silly little phrase, well, everything happens for a reason. Well, I actually believe that. That falls into the concept of the law of attraction, which is that the world as we experience it, the external world and our various experiences that we have, which oftentimes may seem random. Why did this happen to me? I'm a good person. This doesn't make sense. I didn't deserve this, etc. But as I understand it, and who knows, maybe this is just some New Age justification, rationalization for life, but that everything that occurs in our life is a reflection to us, a perfect mirror of our own personal energetic field, of our own vibration, that we are a being of energy. This is a world of energy. These trees are not just hard matter, obviously. They are energy. Anyone who has sat around a campfire knows there is heat in that wood there that is cold right now, but that can keep you warm because it's energy, right? And so this is all energy, and we are energy, and we have a personal vibration to us on many different levels, and so we are interacting with the world in an energetic way. We are drawing various experiences to us based on our energetic vibration, and so anything that might occur within our reality is we are responsible for in some way. That we drew that to us, that we were a match to that experience. This is something that Teal Swan talks about a lot, is that anything that occurs, there has to be an energetic match between yourself and that event in order for it to be able to take place. And so, yes, everything does happen for a reason, and so the trick is to figure out what the reason is if you don't like it, and make sense of it and learn something from it. So here's the thing. There are 4 different categories here in the have fun or learn something department. There is when you're having a lot of fun, but you're not really learning very much. You're just on a picnic. Everything's pleasant. It's a nice, beautiful, sunny day. There are no ants. There's no rain. There's no wind. Everything's perfect. You're with enjoyable company, and you're just having a great old time. So you're just having fun. Not much of a learning experience, but good times. Then there's when you're having those super tough times, and just getting hit by one disaster in your life after another, but it's knocking you around, but it's strengthening you. You're getting reflections of who you are and how you're relating to the world and to others, and you're learning a lot in the process. Let's say you're hiking in the Himalayas. It's not easy trekking up those hills with a backpack on your back, but you're strengthening yourself and gaining perspective on your life and the world, and so you're learning a lot in the midst of challenging circumstances. And then sometimes you're having fun and you're learning something at the same time. You're having a great old time, but you're also doing something very rewarding. You're learning a craft or a skill or something, and so that's the real sweet spot, is when you're doing both, when it isn't just breezy, easy, all nice and pleasant, no challenges, nothing really to be learned, but you're really pushing yourself to your limits and strengthening yourself and soaking up information, learning about the world and your purpose and everything, and you're having a great old time doing it. So that's the ultimate. And then the last one is when you are not having a good time and you are not learning anything from it. You're just down in the dumps and nothing's going your way and none of it makes any sense, and you really just kind of want to give up. And what the hell is the point in all this? And you just feel like you're making no progress and there's just no point to any of it. And so that's when when you're in that place, that's when you really have to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? What if it's true that we are creating our own reality here, that we are responsible for the life that we are living, for the circumstances that we find ourselves in, then why is that the case? And why are you in a stuck in the mud, down in a hole, deep in a ditch, lost in the catacombs kind of experience? And how can you make some kind of a change in your life? First of all, how can you take responsibility for your experience and claim it and say, okay, I am not a victim of circumstance. I am in this situation for a reason. It is not all random events, but I found myself here somehow based on my choices, based on my beliefs, based on my thoughts and my denied feelings and emotions that have energetically drawn to me this set of circumstances. Okay, so that's the first thing, is just acknowledge and take responsibility for what you find yourself immersed in. Because the poor me, I don't deserve this, I shouldn't be here, this shouldn't be happening to me, that's not going to get you out of it. And so that's really the first step, is just, the wake-up call, the yes, I'm an alcoholic. Just taking responsibility and acknowledging your role in ending up in the circumstances, and the reason is because that is also giving you the power to get out of it. Because when you aren't a victim of circumstance, then that means that you're to blame for getting in this situation, even though they may very well be more complicated than that, and there are people who double-crossed you and did bad things to you, and etc., etc. But if you're a victim to other people, then what can you do about it? If you say, regardless of the circumstances, this, I have some role I played some role in ending up here, I have some responsibility for this, then you have some responsibility, then you have some power to get yourself out of that situation. Taking yourself out of victim mode is stepping into empowerment mode. And so then you can start looking at, well, how can I start seizing the reins of my life and get back on track and get headed in the right direction. Sort of got off track a little there from the title of this video, what is the meaning of life? Okay, I need to pay attention here so that I can find my way back. Check out the map here. This is good, I'll have video record of where I came from. So let's see, we are right here down at the bottom of the map, and I'm headed down this way, so 9 is going that way. I think I'm gonna take this little trail here. So what is the meaning of life? Really the ultimate meaning of life is to remember who we are, which is, kind of a silly New Age catchphrase, but true in my opinion. And we are given this opportunity of life to have a separate experience of being an individual soul, and in this case, an individual human being. And that is for the purposes of experience, the experience of separation. And that is an experience we need to have before we begin the journey back to God, basically. That we come from a higher source, a divine being of some sort, which we are a part of, and are simply experiencing ourselves as being separate from. And we have to go through an experience, whatever we have to go through an experience, as a separate being, until we decide, I've had enough of this, I've had enough of being separated, until we remember who we are in terms of being part of something greater, a higher consciousness, and have that spark of desire to head back towards God. And that's really what the spiritual path is that you're going along in your state of forgetfulness in your life, wrapped up in the various things involved in being human, of I have to work, I have to get food on the table, I have to have a place to live, I want a partner in this life, I want to have decent relationships with my parents and my siblings and have good friends and be respected by the community. And maybe you are taking things to a further extreme and you want to have power, and in a power over others kind of a way, and you want to be the leader, and you want to conquer your neighbors, and you want to take over the world, and you may be imbalanced. Not speaking to you specifically, whoever's watching this video, but because this probably isn't talking to you, but you know, in the context of being lost in the matrix, in the experience of being a separate being and being wrapped up in ego needs and everything, then you may be doing bad things to people and harming others and destroying villages and whatever. So the point is, you're lost in the matrix, lost in the experience of separation. And then at some point in your journey, then you may experience a emptiness that is not being fulfilled by those adventures, those pursuits, whether it's to the extremes of fighting and conquering and committing, various crimes or whatever, or else simply the shallow pursuits of drugs and meaningless sex and going out of your way to secure the admiration and respect of your society or money and status and all these various outer pursuits, whatever the addiction might be to fulfilling your needs somewhere in the outer world, then at some point you may very well realize that's not doing it. That isn't the ultimate answer, and you start to have a yearning in your soul, you could say, a desire for something deeper, which is a inner unity with the divine cosmic consciousness. And you may not identify it as such necessarily, but you just start to feel like something integral, ultimate within you is missing, and you want to connect with something deeper and find that which is the the ultimate fulfillment of life, the ultimate meaning of life. Okay, here I am back at the crossroads I was at, or the cross trails, whatever, where I was before, because I realized I wanted to go this other way. And so that's when you discover the real meaning of life, which is that it was all just a bumbling experiment in seeing if you could satisfy your ultimate desires in the world out there somewhere. And although it may have had temporary results at various times in various lives, then when it came down to it, then there was a emptiness within that you finally had to face and deal with and grapple with and find a way to address and acknowledge and meet that inner yearning in some other way than through whatever you've been wrapped up in the outer world, hoping to make you happy and fulfilled. And so that's the ultimate meaning of life, is that it is all a opportunity to experience separation from the divine flow enough, to the extent that finally we realize that there's something else, there's something more that we can connect to, and that is when we reverse direction from moving away from God and perhaps rebelling against God and denying the reality that we are not actually a separate being, but that we are part of something else, something bigger, and finally saying to ourselves, well, I guess nothing else has worked up to this point, and I think I'm ready to sort of give up, as it were. Not really give up, but just give up this pursuit of finding ultimate satisfaction separate from the divine consciousness, and start seeking the divine consciousness within, and reestablishing that relationship, that connection, and realize that is the ultimate goal, is to turn the train around and start heading back towards the source of consciousness from which we originally came, and then went on this fantastic journey across the cosmos for many, many lifetimes, many, many different types of experiences, maybe even as animals or trees, I mean, who knows, or beings on various different planets and star systems and different dimensions and different types of experiences, from being the slave to being the ruler, being male, being female, etc. And then it all was a journey to teach us that we come from a divine source, and that is our ultimate destination, even if we took a long journey off in another direction, completely forgot about where we came from and everything, but that it is our ultimate destiny to head back in that direction when we choose. And so that's free will. That everyone is on a separate, different type of a journey, and some at this time still need to keep flying away from the source and are lost in the illusion completely, and have to have ever more types of experiences in order to come to that realization, and others are, have learned what they need to learn. Speaking of having fun and learning something, the importance of actually learning that really, in your soul, of what you really need to experience in order to learn those lessons, and then make that change within. So that's my perspective on the meaning of life. All right, take care.